Welcome back to Dinar Current. August update. The currency reset moves from rumor to reality. For more than a decade, the conversation surrounding a possible global currency revaluation (GCR) has lived mostly in the shadows. It was whispered about in investor circles, debated in private meetings, and speculated endlessly in online forums. To many outsiders, it seemed like a fringe theory or a dream without substance. But as we move through August, the narrative has dramatically shifted. What was once dismissed as rumor is increasingly supported by institutional signals, policy adjustments, and operational readiness inside major banks. Currencies that once seemed irrelevant to the global stage, the Iraqi dinar (IQD), Vietnamese dong (VND), and Zimbabwean dollar (ZWL) are now being positioned for significant structural changes. Verified reports from banking insiders, compliance updates from regulators, and international financial alignment suggest that preparations are not only real but accelerating at a pace few expected. This isn't just speculation anymore, it's visible transformation. The banks quietly prepare. For years, major U.S. banks like Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan Chase, HSBC, Bank of America, and PNC either avoided the topic entirely or issued vague, non-committal statements whenever the idea of a revaluation surfaced. But that posture has changed. Behind closed doors, these same institutions are reportedly moving into operational readiness for large-scale currency exchanges. Appointment-only systems have been set up to manage what could be an unprecedented volume of transactions. Unlike traditional currency exchanges at airport counters or commercial branches, these appointments will be far more controlled, private, and compliance-driven. Every participant will be vetted, every transaction verified, and every step documented to the letter. This means individual preparation is no longer optional. If banks are upgrading systems, training staff, and preparing physical locations for exchange activity, then currency holders must match that level of organization. Entering the process unprepared, without receipts, without valid IDs, without entity paperwork, could mean delays, disqualification, or even complete exclusion. Why this shift matters? It's important to understand that this is not just about currency rates changing. The deeper shift is about legitimacy and structure. The IQD, VND, and ZWL are being framed not simply as speculative notes but as asset-backed instruments tied to real commodities like oil, gold, and agricultural resources. Such positioning fundamentally changes how these currencies will be treated by global regulators and large financial institutions. This move brings with it increased oversight, stricter compliance, and stronger adherence to international standards like the Basel Protocols and ISO 20022. These standards are designed to ensure global interoperability, digital transparency, and the elimination of hidden, unverifiable financial activity. As a result, banks will no longer process foreign currency on the basis of presentation alone. Walking into a branch with a handful of notes will not suffice. Every exchange will be subject to anti-money laundering (AML) checks and know your customer (KYC) verification, regardless of the size of the exchange. Documentation, the foundation of exchange. Primary and secondary IDs. The first line of compliance is proving who you are. Currency holders will need at least 2 valid government-issued IDs. Acceptable examples include a valid driver's license, a passport with at least 6 months of validity beyond the exchange date, a state-issued ID card. In addition, banks may request proof of address, which could be verified through recent utility bills, lease agreements, or bank statements. Any inconsistencies, such as mismatched names or expired documents, could result in appointment cancellations. If your legal name has changed due to marriage, divorce, or court order, legal proof must be presented. For instance, a marriage certificate or legal name change decree must accompany your IDs. Having redundant documentation, both physical originals and digital backups, will minimize the chance of disqualification. Proof of currency origin. Equally critical is proving where your currency came from. Banks will not accept vague explanations like, "I bought it years ago," or, "A friend gave it to me." Under federal regulations, all exchanged funds must be traceable and legally obtained. The strongest evidence includes original purchase receipts from licensed dealers, payment records, bank statements, wire confirmations, or credit card records. Notarized inheritance documents if currency was passed down. signed and notarized gift letters if notes were gifted. Without such documentation, access to certain exchange rates, or even the exchange itself, may be denied. The standard will be precise, detailed histories of currency acquisition, including dates, institutions, and methods of payment. Entity exchanges. For individuals planning to exchange through legal structures like LLCs, S-corporations, or trusts, the requirements will be even stricter. Certificates of incorporation, operating agreements, IRS-issued IN documentation, bank resolutions granting authority to act. All paperwork must be current, signed, and verifiable. Missing even a single document could force you into exchanging under your personal status, which may carry different tax implications. Currency presentation. Physical presentation of the currency is another area where professionalism will matter. Notes should be organized by denomination and type, placed in secure holders, and accompanied by a signed inventory sheet. This sheet should list each denomination, series, and total count. If you have had your notes authenticated by third-party services, include the certificates of authenticity. This will add another layer of credibility. Institutional readiness. Reports throughout mid-2025 suggest U.S. banks are nearing full readiness. Training programs, simulations, and internal appointment scheduling systems have already been linked to major institutions like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, HSBC, Chase, and PNC. Meanwhile, central banks are aligning globally. The Central Bank of Iraq is preparing digital settlement systems for international IQD integration. Vietnam is recalibrating its exchange rates under outside supervision. Zimbabwe is focusing on humanitarian redemption programs linked to its currency. This indicates that the process is not isolated but part of a coordinated global adjustment. Controlled release of funds. Completing the exchange will not necessarily mean immediate unrestricted access to all funds. Many banks may temporarily place proceeds into restricted accounts while final verification is completed. Larger transactions may be released in stages rather than in one lump sum. This phased release is designed to maintain compliance, prevent fraud, and align with international agreements that may govern the redemption of these currencies. Taxation and federal monitoring. Another key point is that the IRS and federal agencies will monitor all large exchanges closely. Any deposit over $10,000 automatically triggers federal reporting. With revaluation-related exchanges, the scrutiny will be even more detailed. Proper record-keeping will be essential. Organized documentation will reduce the risk of tax disputes or compliance questions during the next tax cycle. Common mistakes to avoid. Many investors have already experienced setbacks due to oversights. The most frequent issues include expired or mismatched IDs, missing purchase receipts, disorganized or damaged notes, incomplete entity paperwork, attempting to record appointments strictly prohibited, relying on social media, intel, rather than official guidance. Each of these mistakes has resulted in delayed or denied exchanges. Security considerations. The exchange process carries both physical and digital risks. Experts strongly advise against posting appointment details online or discussing them publicly. When attending your appointment, arrive early and confirm the exact location. Avoid public transport or ride-sharing services. Bring a trusted companion if possible. Use secure, discreet storage for documents and currency. After the exchange, immediately update your online account credentials and enable multi-factor authentication to guard against cyber threats. The exchange checklist. Before attending an appointment, currency holders should prepare a complete checklist. This includes primary and secondary government-issued IDs, social security documentation, purchase receipts and proof of payment, entity formation records if applicable, currency inventory list, appointment confirmation, proof of address, utility bills, bank statements, notarized documents for inheritance or gifts, authentication certificates if available. Each item should be backed up in both physical form and encrypted digital copies. Final thoughts. This process is not about showing up with a stack of notes and expecting instant results. It is about professionalism, readiness, and compliance. Those who treat this like a casual transaction will face roadblocks, while those who approach it with meticulous preparation will have the smoothest experience. Whether at a flagship branch in New York City or a smaller regional location in the Midwest, The outcome will depend on the same factors: documentation, organization, and adherence to compliance requirements. The global financial system is evolving quickly, and for the first time in decades, currencies once ignored by mainstream finance are stepping into the spotlight. The difference between success and frustration will not be luck, it will be preparation.